Everybody, Bruce Jones here, and in this video, I thought I would take you behind the scenes of making a coloring book. I put up a picture yesterday in the Facebook group, and it had a picture of a coloring book that I am working on. So it looked like, let's see here, let me see if I can have it here. Looks something like this, and so it was just sort of, I'm beginning to work on another coloring book. And what I thought I'd do is just sort of go behind the scenes, just show you a little bit what I'm doing. Coloring books are some of my best-selling books. And I have created quite a few of them over the years. This is one of my best-selling books, the World Regional Coloring Books. And you can see it's a book of maps. And I'm a huge believer in repurposing your content to do many, many, many things with it. And so one of the products that I have sold for years and years is clip art, just different clip art maps. In fact, I'll grab the thing. And I've been selling it online since 1990, and then 95 I went online, and then I had CDs and I licensed it and all kinds of things like that. So I've had a lot of success with creating clip art maps. These are maps that are used in presentations, in schools, for business, for government, for everything. And I retrace the entire world. And out of that, I've created a number of different products out of it. And one of them are books. So you've probably seen me show these books. So this is one of them. I have 5 of them. And I just took the maps and I created coloring books out of it. And here's another one. This is a USA one. I have 2 USA books. So you can see they're just regular, ordinary coloring books. And we had a question that was posed today in the group was about what kind of paper do I use? Where do I publish them? Do I put them on one side or 2 sides? All that kind of stuff. So I thought that sort of sparked doing a little broadcast on what I'm doing. Here's another one. Here's Canada. This one actually is also fairly popular. I licensed these from the Canadian government and retraced all the maps. And then I have another USA one. This one's geared towards littler kids, small kids. It's a little simpler map. So they're there. So I have a whole series of 5 of them. In my plan, I had blocked out there, right? So there's all my map books, right? And the globes, roll the globe. So this is another one. So these are all globes. So in my plan, I had blocked out about 12 of them. And we have a comment here. Let's put that up. Hey, Bruce. Hi, Brenda. Yeah, I'm just going to do kind of a behind the scenes. I'm making my coloring books. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've developed about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these different books, and I'm now working on a 6th one. I'm working on a European one. And one of the things that's happened because of COVID and the coronavirus and all of that is that so many kids are now at home and they're doing homeschooling or they're supplementing what's going on in their schooling. And geography is a topic that a lot of parents want to have included. So got me interested in getting back and finishing, or at least making a couple more of these. So what I do is just sort of show you sort of behind the scenes. And let's just bring up this. So let me move this out of the way. If you have any questions, just put them up and I'll try to answer them. The basic questions that were actually posed this morning was, where do I publish my books? So all of these books, all of these are published on Amazon. Everything's on KDP, Amazon. You can't really pick the paper that you use. They're black and white papers. They're black and white paper, and it works fine. Nobody seems to complain. Most coloring books, or a lot of them, you'll see the image on just one page because people use markers and they don't put anything on the back. These are done sort of before I had thought about that. And then actually in this current book, I'm doing the same thing. I'm putting them front to back just to kind of keep the book a little, so it doesn't have so many pages. I normally like to have about 40 images in a book. That makes a nice size. And if you put them every other page, that's an 80-page book. And that's about what this book is. And let me just bring this up. Let me just get this. If anybody has any questions, I want to make sure I get them. Yes, Brenda, you just reminded me when I saw you come in. I'll look at it when I'm done with this, and I'll take a look at it. And it's a great idea. I just kind of got sidetracked with my stuff. Let's see who else is in here. Anybody else in here? So, anyways, so normally I like about 40 pages in a coloring book. And so that gives you a total of 80. So if you have, an illustration or 40 illustrations, you have an illustration and a blank page, an illustration and a blank page. That makes about 80 pages, so about 40 of them. I have about, I don't know how many are in this new one I'm doing, but these tend to grow. Like with the 50 states, when I did the states, there's 50 of them. So that would mean, they kind of just would go up for a long ways. And what I like to do with my maps, let me show you what I often do with my maps, is I like to have I'll show you on the Canadian one, I like to have a detail page. This is if you're doing maps, you don't have to do this, but it just gives you a way to make variations if you don't have enough illustrations. And then I do one without the details. And then I'll do one with just the outline. And then I'll do another one without the capital in it. And then I'll do the flag or something like that. I've done that kind of thing a lot. You'll see, like in my world regional map, if you don't have enough illustrations, like I only had 17 illustrations, so I have to stretch it and try to put some extra stuff in it. So let me show you one. So here's Europe. So I had Europe with all that detail. So it's a lot of detail. And then have Europe with just the countries in it. And then Europe with no names. And then Europe just an outline. So that's a way of taking, when you only have a few maps or a few illustrations, you can stretch them by just starting to strip away details on it and sort of spread them out. So that's one of the ways I've done that. So anyways, and I like to have the spreads with the maps. It's a little different than just sort of pictures of cats or something. All right, so let me show you. Let's go to here. So how did I do this? Where did I come up with these? Let me get this out of the way so I can do it. This right here is the illustration. I'm doing these books in Adobe Illustrator because the maps were drawn in Adobe Illustrator. You can use almost anything depending where your illustrations are coming from. But this is how these books were set up. So initially, I would create an illustration. And I've drawn hundreds and hundreds of maps. So these are maps based on the CIA, U.S. Defense Department, and U.S. Geological Survey created maps. And then I redrew them. They're in the public domain. They're part of the U.S. government, and you can go and get them and create things. So you can do that with any piece of art. As long as it's created by the U.S. government, you can redo something with it and turn it into something. So I drew all of these. You'll see this is an Illustrator file. And let's unclick these. You'll see right here, or if I go and show you all the points, you can see all those points all the way around. So I hand drew all of these maps and turned them into a product. It seemed like a huge amount of work. It took about a year to draw the original collection. But then I've now been able to sell this thing for 30 years. So it's been a great product to have. So I would start with this illustration, and then getting ready for this book, I wanted to have, these are all the different administrative districts in Finland. This is Finland right here. This is Sweden, this is Russia, Norway over here. I wanted to have just an outline of the country so people could fill in the outline, knowing I was going to have a detailed map and a map with just an outline on it. So one of the ways you can do that in Illustrator is you can take all of your, I'll just take these right here, and I'm just going to pull them over there. Just basically that's copy and pasting them without just dragging them off. And there's a feature in Illustrator called the Pathfinder feature. And what it does is it takes all the lines out and merges all the parts together. And you have to do a little bit of cleanup. So you can see there's some little pieces here you have to take out. But I did that, and then I made them white, added some white, and made the line thicker, the border thicker, and created an extra thick border that'll go around the country and created an extra piece. So I did that on all the maps. I think I have about 26 European country maps, ranging from Spain all the way to Belarus, and then down to Greece, and up to Norway and Finland and Sweden. So that I took those and created all those maps, and then brought them over one at a time into this file. So this file, if you're not familiar with Adobe Illustrator, it's one of the companion software that go with the Creative Suite by Adobe. And you have Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff. But those are the three main ones that anybody who's doing design will use. And you can set up a document. Now, if you're familiar with PowerPoint or InDesign, or even Word, the pages all just kind of flow down. You might have a pair of pages, but they basically just flow down. In Illustrator, you can set up to 100 pages in one view. You'll notice if I zoom out, you'll see all these pages here. These are all the pages of the book. And as I completed each map, you'll see I brought them over and put them roughly into place. So you can see right there. And then the way I build my files is page 1 starts right here. And these big numbers that you see, they will be taken out. They're just to help keep me straight on what I'm doing. Let me just look and see if there's any questions. Take that out of here. Did you hand? Yeah, I basically hand drew them. Yeah, let me go back over here and just do these questions. Yeah, so thank you, Brenda. Love the map ideas. Yeah, no, I've been drawing maps for a long time. I started in 1990, and it took me a while to figure out where they are, and then it took me a year to draw the original collection, and then I've been drawing them ever since. And I've drawn thousands of maps, basically. In fact, when I drew the United States counties, all the United States counties, is 3,100 counties or something like that. So yes, I did hand draw all of these maps. And the way that I did that, actually, I can show you how I did that. Let's see here. Can I do that here? Let me go back over to Finland. And I'll add a page on here. Just add an artboard. And let's see if I can place. I'll just show you a little bit how I did it. Let's go to here, and let's go to countries. In Illustrator, you can see all these files that I have in here. And here we go, Belarus. I drew Belarus just recently because it was the one country I had forgotten. So I will get these maps. These maps are all, these are old CIA maps. And you can find them online. You can find them at the CIA. You can find them, I find them at a library in Texas called the Pierre Castaneda Library. It has an amazing map collection. But this would be the map that comes in. It's just just a JPEG file of Belarus, created by the Central Intelligence Agency, our government. So these are royalty free. And then I'll put that on its own layer, just like you see here. And then I'll come on another layer, and I'll take a drawing tool, like this pen tool, and I will go all the way around the map like this. Just take off the, don't want any color in there. And we'll make it red just so you can see it a little easier. And I go all the way around. I'm just doing this quickly, but I've learned how to do it and how many points you have to include. And you just come all the way around this entire province or administrative district, because I don't know what they call it in Belarus. And like the United States, we call our districts states. In Canada, they call them provinces. Other countries call them other things, but administrative district is the easiest. You notice I'm kind of skipping. I'm not hitting every single spot on here, but I'm just going, and now I'm going to the borders, the internal border, and I know I've done this for years, so I know exactly how I want to do it, and I'm just kind of going a little faster than normal here. But this is what you do. I just go all the way around, just go a little faster, so it's, you're not bored watching me put points on it. I've drawn probably millions of points. And this is what you do. You just sit here and do this for months on end. Now that's been surrounded. Let's make it a little thicker so you can see it. And there's a red border all the way around, and we'll turn this off. So there's the border. And then you go to the next one. So I will start right here and go all the way around like this, like this. And I'll do every border, every administrative district, every country on the map and sort of recreate the map. And I know how to do it because I've done it for years and years. But anyways, I'll just let that go. Let's come back there. So you can see, and then I just sort of work my way all the way around the entire map. So, all right, let's come back over here. See if that's, yeah, so that's how I do it. All right, so so what I've done is I've set up I set up a file in Illustrator, however many pages I think the book is going to be, and I can always add more because I have an artboard thing here. And you'll notice that I just bring in, so here's like Finland I'm working on right here, but I'll bring in the map like so, and I'll bring it in as color because that's how I have it, and then eventually I'll turn it into black and white. So as I remove the color, so let's go to one that's complete, that makes some sort of sense here. So here we go. Here's the Belarus map that I was just showing you how. So this is the map, and you'll notice it has the text. I have one map with text and one map without text. So instead of putting 6 versions, I'm just doing 2 versions. I really bounce around depending on how much space I have to fill up. And I put things onto layers. So layers are super important when you're creating map products or things, so that I can shut off. That one's actually not set up correctly. There, I can turn things off. I can turn them on, turn them off, and I can see. Let's see if this one's set up right. Yeah, all right. See how the text turns on and off. So I can get in here and look at it and make sure I have right things in the right places and do it. These numbers are just reference numbers for me to kind of have a big number of where the pages are. I want to make sure I have them set up in spreads. Let me show you a completed one. So this is the, so let me just go to here a second. This is cool. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I never realized you could do that. Yep. No, you can do all kinds of stuff. And this is Adobe Illustrator, and you can retrace all kinds of drawings, or you can find drawings and turn them into things, or whatever. PDFs are actually a version of Illustrator, and you can even get in there sometimes. They've gotten it. It's easier to do it. So this book, let me just show you this book. So this is my World Maps and Globes book. This is a complete book. It's been selling for years. In fact, countries don't change. In fact, I just learned the other day, this was up in 2011, I updated them last year, that there have been no new countries in 9 years. So, I have a pretty stable product, and it kind of just goes forever and ever and ever. So this book is a complete book. This is an earlier version of it, but let me show you. Let me just show you the complete how I set up a book. So this is done, as I said, in Illustrator. The first page will be the title page for the book. So there you go. That's the title page. You can see it there. Then I have the legal stuff, disclaimer, and whatever I want to put in there. And then I had a table of contents. And then most of my books, one, to kind of fill space, but 2, I think people want them, is I have a set of maps that go into pretty much every book. So every book gets a US map, gets a world map of some kind, or several of them. So they all kind of have a basic set that kind of goes from book to book to book, and then it breaks down. But you'll see everything is in here. This one I had to cut the map in half to get it big enough. And you can see all the maps here. Sometimes I turn them sideways, right? And what I'll do in Illustrator is I'll set up a consistent grid. Let me see make sure you can see that. Yeah, you can see those green lines. So you notice, let's do the grid on and off. Notice there's a grid in here. See these green lines that are in here? Let's come in really close so you can see them. This is a key thing. I talked about it in the workshop, the workbook class, but the grid really helps because there's nothing worse than sort of going through a book like this, go flip, 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 and the titles go up and down, and everything is in a different place. It just makes the book look unprofessional. So you'll see, let me turn the grids on or off. So the grid lines are up here in the ruler. So whether you're in InDesign or Illustrator or Photoshop, if you turn on the ruler, you can bring down a line. You notice I can pull it down and set up a grid line that goes there, helps me line things up. So there's one for where all the titles go. I always put a center line because I want things to kind of line up in the center. I'll often put a middle line of some kind because I just need things. These maps are all different sizes. Everything is a different thing. So I need to kind of somehow center them on a page. So I'll put a middle line and kind of lock them up. I'll put a copyright on every page because I promote that you can photocopy these. You can use them. In fact, I put a note right on here, updated for 2019. I need to change that date and re-upload these, but photocopying is okay. It just sort of helps line things up. It tells people what they can do with it, because especially if this is going to teachers, they're very conscious about rights. And we had a conversation recently on the site about rights. I let people use these and let them photocopy them. It's something not everybody does. So I use it as a competitive advantage to say, yes, you can photocopy these. You can make copies for your students. You can do as you need to with them. Make it as easy. That's just my personal way that I do stuff. So let's see, is anything here? Yep. So so you can see then I line things up. And so then everything kind of has a top and a bottom and lines up left and right. You know, I kind of find a place, even if they're going vertical, because sometimes they just won't fit. You see, I just have all the maps in here, right? So it just kind of works your way through. Detail, no detail. That's an easy way to expand a product, to expand your illustrations by just making one with details, one without details. You get to get more. So you notice here, I just take out the lines. I just figure out a way to make them less complicated, and you now have a second illustration or a third or a fourth. Again, there's the United States. I'll often put the United States stuff at the back of the book because I let the good stuff in the middle, and then I kind of frame it with my other stuff. You see, they're all there. There's Canada, a detailed one, detailed with states, an outline one. So just the states, our provinces, names, just provinces, just outline. It's a great way to kind of do it. But you can do that with a lot of illustrations. You can make them simple, you can make them complex and put them together. You'll see lines, no lines, longitude, latitude lines, no longitude, latitude lines. People can call them in. So it just kind of goes through the whole book. I've drew all of these, every single one of them. You'll see there's the grid is in here. It helps. It gets so difficult without the grid to get anything to line up in all these different ways. So let's come back out. And then at the end of the book, so at the end, I will put, here's some of my basic maps that I put, and I will build the cover. I do this in all of my books that I do, whether it's InDesign or Illustrator. I build the covers on the last page because then everything is together in one file. And then when I come to build the cover, I can just select all of this stuff right here, copy it, and paste it into the cover file. So I did that. The back cover, I always put samples of what's inside. I always put a list of what's inside. So I kind of come up with this. If you notice, I'll just come here for a second. If you notice my books, this back looks exactly like this back, looks exactly like this back, looks exactly like this back. So I come up with one design and just repeat it over and over and over again. It's just different content, but the design is the same on all of them. Title at the top, a couple images, list at the bottom. So it just makes it easier. You can kind of move through your books quicker if you just have some standard designs on series. All right, so let's go back to here. All right, so that's the world globe one. And now let's go back over to, so you can see it all there. I'll put in some marketing material. That shouldn't be there, but it's there for the moment. And then let's go to the Europe one. This is the newest book that I'm doing. So same thing. This is kind of in process. So there's a title page right here, which will have some more illustrations on here. I'll put something in here to make it look better. There's my disclaimer page. There's a working table of contents. I'm up to Estonia, so I don't have them all in here yet. We'll work it out. So this is a Europe one. So the front of it, I've added Europe, Europe, Europe. So detail with cities, detail with country names, details no names, outline. And then it's a global projection map. So you can see that if you have a library of images, you can crisscross them between different books. It just gives you more content that you can use. And then I'm just working my way through these countries. So let's just come down to here for a second. So this is Finland I'm working on, just to show you a little bit how I do this. This is a simple one. So I need to move all this text, and I didn't bring these in correctly where I would have grouped the text in the illustration, and then I could move it easily up to my layer. You notice over here, there's the layer. Hopefully let's see, is that showing up on the thing? Yes, it is. All right. So I love layers. It's one of the most powerful tools in InDesign or in Illustrator, is to break your illustrations or design into, let's just get all of this. I'm just moving these up. This is just, and then because it's on layers, I can turn them on or off and see what I missed. So Finland, we don't need that. So just put that up here. And I'm just going to grab all these little things. So if you saw me, this is what I've been doing over the last sort of week and a half. This will take, I was trying to make this book quick, and it's not going that quick, even though I have all the illustrations done, because I have to go in and do all this kind of stuff. So let's just move this up here. Let's come in close. There's a lot of piecemeal work. I'm going to move this down to there. That'll be a good spot for it. And I'm just moving these up and up to their own layer. And that way, then I can work on the land underneath it without touching things. Oh, just made an order. Look at that. Cool, huh? I love when that happens. That's an Etsy order. Another place that you can sell your products. I sell things on Gumroad. I also sell them on Etsy. So let me look at my, now the thing I want to do here, and you just heard the cha-ching, all right? So let's do this. I need Estonia. I'm going to copy this, put that right there, and make this Finland. And we'll put this on the next page. Yeah, and then I want to make this a little bit bigger. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm just going to select all this. Actually, I can get rid of that. This is when you get to edit and fix things. Get rid of that copyright. So I'm just going to enlarge this. And we're just going to, so I just selected it with my pointer. And I'm just going to hold down my shift key and just bring this out to get it really as big as I can get it on the page, leaving some room here in the gutter so that people can have the color down there. And I just kind of center this. If everything was exactly the same size, I'd set up a grid to make everything the same size. It's not, so we'll just have to go with it as it is. All right, I'm going to turn off the text. Then I can select all, oops, one more piece to move up. Move this up. And then I can grab all my land. Something went wrong there. This piece went to the wrong layer. That's why you can put it on layer. You can tell what you have going in different places. Okay, there's all the parts. So we're just going to select this. And I'm going to just hold down my Option key and Shift and just slide it over like so. And that's a feature in Illustrator that you can quickly copy something. And I'm going to fill it with white. And I'm going to look for, there's an outer, remember you saw the Finland map over here. I drew this outline. So now what I'm going to do is, there's the outline. It's in here. And I'm just going to make it 1 point. And it's going to be moved up to the outline layer. And then I'll shut that off. And the rest of it, I will make 0.5 point. It's just pretty much what I do in my illustrations. Make it 0.5 point. And then the same thing over here. I'm going to fill that with white. Why do I fill it with white as opposed to no fill? Because when it's filled with white, you can grab this object anywhere in it. If I had to come in here and work with these islands or do something, I can click anywhere on the island and it makes it easier to grab. I don't have to, because the lines are all on top of each other. So, all right, so now and we'll make that 1 point. And we'll turn the text back on. And there we have this Finland. So that one is done. So that's a quick one because there's only a few parts. Let's just save that. But you can see that's now ready to go. I kind of have them the same space left and right in the page. And I'll probably come in here and do some more tweaking. But the goal is to just move through all of these. You said this is a fairly simple one. France is a very complicated one. So it's going to take some more time. All right. And then the rest of the book will just be built out. You see these are all been sort of just plopped here. So they're ready to go. They're all staged. That as I get to them, they'll be moved up and down, left and right, and sized. And then I'll duplicate them and do a simple one. So my plan on this is the left-hand page has the administrative districts. In fact, see this one I don't want with white. I don't want any fill. I want to see the administrative districts. As the administrative district, and the right one is just an outline fill. So kids can color that in or do whatever they want. So it gives you enough options to kind of do stuff. And then down at the bottom here, when I get done, all of this will get done. There are my consistent maps that I put in every book. I always put a US. My market is basically the United States. So in the UK, so I want to make sure I'm covered with the US and Canada. Canada also buys my books. And then I will take this existing cover right here, and I'll turn that into the European cover, come up with some new colors. And as you can see, I'm working off of the file from the World Maps regional one, but I will now come in when this is done and come in and mess around with that. So I don't know why those lines changed, but they did. So things like that happen. One of the things you have to be careful of, and the thing is that you can do something you think is on just the map you're working on, and it actually goes global across the whole document. And now you can't undo it because everything was changed. Like maybe you did a select all, thinking, oh, I'm just going to grab all this and do a select all. It actually selected everything because you were in close, like this, working. You were thinking, oh, I'll just change this, and it changed everything. So that happened the other day. I had to go back and fix the whole 2 whole rows of maps because I just changed something. I moved everything to the same layer, and I don't know what I did. So, anyway, so that's sort of behind the scenes of creating a coloring book. So I'll just work my way through this every page, just go all the way through it, and do it, and then this can be exported as a PDF file for Amazon for KDP, and then I'll also build a cover for it. I'll take those up files and make a cover that's correct once I know the final page count on my spine, and they'll also make a full PDF version because I sell my books in print, but I also sell them in PDF, and I sell quite a few in PDF. It's a great way to get some extra. You heard an order come through. I sell them on Etsy. I sell them on Gumroad. I sell them wherever I can kind of sell them. So anyways, I hope that just gives you a little insight to what I'm doing. I'll turn the fan back on and the air conditioner so it's a little cooler. And you can see in the back right there, because it's hot. And try to make my book. So go and and Brenda, I'll go look at your file now. But yeah, that's basically how I do it. And whether you're getting your art from Pixabay or Graphics Factory, or you're drawing it, or you had somebody else draw it, you just need to assemble it. I could assemble this book in InDesign also, but because these are all Illustrator files, I am doing it in Illustrator because I'm doing changes and tweaks as I go with every drawing. So if my art was fixed and done, then I could assemble this in InDesign, or I could assemble it in PowerPoint. Would also work too if I had the right kind of drawings to put in there. So that's it. All right. Hope that helps. Build some books. Create some books. If you make coloring books, they can go for a long time. You can sell these things for years. I've been selling these books for over, let's see, 2011. I think these all have a 2011 date on them. So, what's that? 9 years, something like that. So 8, 9 years I've been selling these books. So, all right. See you soon. Bye.